Sorry, it says it's good to be here this morning. The sunshine sure does look good. I think we're getting out of the frozen tundra for a little while, hopefully. But it is good to see everybody this morning. Good to be here. And good to be able to be here. You know, we could be a lot worse off this morning, could not be able to. Humanly impossible to be here. And I'm thankful for that, thankful the liberties still come. That could be different too. Could change any day. But just glad to be here today. Hope you are too. Hate you have to listen to me. Other than that, maybe you'll be all right. But, I was listening to the song this morning, Come Meet Me at the Throne. He says, then one day I will say, rise up higher. That should be encouragement to us this morning. One of these days, he's going to say, come on. Yeah. Whether it be by death here or by the rapture, one or the other. One of these days, if you're one ahead, he's going to say, come on. Your trouble's over. Amen. You don't have to deal with all this mess anymore. Just come on home. That's something that should be encouraging to us, something we should think about instead of worrying and being so concerned with everything that's wrong today. Think about what's right. Think about what's good. That's where our lesson is today, what he's talking about, service for him after we've been saved up to this point. Paul's been telling them about what all they got when they got saved and how to get saved. And now he's telling us how to walk after we get saved. And there's a lot to do. Plenty of people that need it, as Brother Daniel's mentioned there. Oh, that the world could see it. You know what will make them see it? We see it more. Yeah. We realize it more what we got a hold of. Yeah. We're the ones that are commissioned to make them see it, show it to them. If their eyes aren't open, they don't see it, they'll never get it. And we're all they got. And, I would have to say I'm a great failure at that. And just really getting a hold of what he's done for me and telling somebody else about it. We're awful quick to tell others about great things we see and maybe what we have. A new car, a new truck, new tractor, whatever it is that we really like. Hey, you ought to get you one of them. It's really good. What about what we've got inside? What he's done for us. Or be telling everybody we see. And again, we are all guilty of not doing it. But it needs to be told. It says in verse 1 of chapter 12 here, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. The word beseech here means to beg or plead with. Paul's serious about what he's got and what he wants to tell. We should be the same. We see what Paul was before. He took what he did very serious. He was very good at what he did, persecuting the Christians. He was all about it. And when he got saved, he was all about that. He changed direction, had as much passion and concern this way as he did the other way. And again, a very good example for us. It says, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, not by what you're able to do in yourself, not by who you are or what you have, just by the mercies of God. That's the only thing you have to stand on. Only help that you have, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice. Usually you think about a sacrifice, you think about something dying, something that's dead. This is not a dead sacrifice, this one's alive. And I thought about my own life and how I live most of the time, and a lot of times it's just dead. It's not a living sacrifice. It's one that's just so-so. It's kind of dead and dried up. But it shouldn't be. It don't have to be. It should be a living sacrifice, something that's alive, that has life about it. Not just hanging your head and moping around. Something that's alive. Excited to be alive. Excited to be one of his. So you tell the world, hey, you don't have to live in sin. You don't have to go to hell. There's a different way. And it's alive, and it is a sacrifice. It don't just happen. It don't just come easy. It's a daily battle. You know, it's easy to get the conception that when you get saved, everything's great, and you just get up every day just loving life and telling the world, no, it's not that way. You still live in this flesh, that soul's saved, the rest of you's not. So it's going to be a battle every day. And we can choose whether we want to fight the battle or not. We can choose which one we let win. So it is a sacrifice. It says holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. And that should be the reason we do it, is trying to be holy and acceptable unto God. Trying to please our Master. Trying to please the one that saved us and died for us. So this, which is your reasonable service. You think about it. With just common sense. Somebody died in your place. You were guilty. You deserved to die. The evidence was all there. You couldn't get out of it. But somebody stepped up and said, I'll take his place. Now, doesn't it make sense? Isn't it reasonable that you're going to do everything you could for that person? Yes, that's common sense. So it's a reasonable service. The least we should do is do our best for him. Because he definitely gave his best for us. It says, and be not conformed to this world. And this is a lot easier to say than it is to do. Be not conformed to the world. But don't be like the world. Don't join up with everything the world thinks it does. If it don't line up with what God said, it's not right. You don't have to give into it. So don't try to be like the world. It's natural to be. That's what yourself still wants to do. But don't let it. He says, be not conformed to this world. So don't be like it. Be transformed. Transform means to be changed. Be different. So instead of being like you were before, walking and talking like the world and acting like the world, transform into what he says and does and acts like. That's what it means, to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That's where the battle's at. We can talk about that. That's where the devil works in your head. You can't do nothing about your heart. If you can't do anything about that part that's saved, it can sure mess with your mind. It can get in your head and get you thinking, and then get you out of sorts. Get you thinking about the wrong things. Whatever you're thinking about in your mind is usually what comes out your mouth. It's what you're dwelling on, what your life consists of. If you get to thinking about and studying about what we've been studying in the book of Romans, about what Christ did for you, if you start the day doing that, good things will come out of your mouth. Somebody will hear it. Somebody see it. That's right. You'll act different, walk different, talk different. And it's up to us each day as to what we're going to do. You know, you talk about, and we talked about it some last time, about being a soldier in the army. Every day you get up and you won't let that leader lead you, sergeant or whoever it is you're following. They don't know what they're going to do today. They don't know where they're going. Don't know what kind of trials they're going to get into. They may come back and sleep in their bed tonight, and they may sleep out in the middle of nowhere. They don't know. But they know they're going to follow him. Wherever he goes, wherever he leads, that's where they're going. It's awful simple, but it can be applied to our everyday life. Lord, I don't know where we're going today. Don't know what I'm going to face today, but I know you're in charge. And that's the whole thing of letting him be in charge. You know, we all like to, or we admit it or not, like to be in charge. We like to be in control of what's going on, and we think we can control things. But when you boil all the water out of it, we're not in control of anything.
That's right.
I can't take another breath without him. You can't either. Neither can anybody else on the planet. You know, we think we're so tough and so good, but he's in control. If he says this is my last breath, it's my last breath. No matter where I'm at, what I'm doing, I have no control over that. Now, you can live recklessly and all that kind of stuff, but ultimately he's in control. So why don't we let him be? Stubbornness, whatever you want to call it. But it behooves us to, there's a lot at stake, in other words, than how we live. If we live the way we should for him and tell the world about him and how good he is, we'll accomplish things. Or worse something. You know, accolades in this world, money, fame, whatever it is, not worth a dime. It'll all be burned up one day. Won't do you any good. But you think about living right in front of the world and doing your service to him like we should, one soul got saved. worth it all. It's worth any sacrifice you make. It's worth any somebody talking about you behind your back or your face or whatever. It's worth it. That's what we're left here for. It says, For I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according as God hath dealt to every man the measure of faith. For he says here, through grace given to me. And that's the only way you accomplish this. That's the only way you live like you should, through that grace. And dwelling on that grace. He has to give it to you. It says to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think. And there's plenty of people in the world doing that today. And it's real easy for us to get caught up in the same thing. You know, you're somebody, you're something important. I think a lot about Mephibosheth, talking about being a dead dog. That's where we're all at. We have nothing to offer. You think about going to the God that created the heaven and the earth, created everything. I have nothing to take to him. I have nothing to go say, I'm worthy of anything you have. None of us do. We're lost, undone without it. So we have nothing to brag about except him. If he's living in your heart, you got something to brag about. Brag about him. All he's done for you. It says, don't think higher of yourself than you ought to, but to think soberly, according as God has dealt to every man the measure of faith. And I'm thankful for that. He's dealt to every man the measure of faith. So he has the tools available that I need to do what I'm supposed to do. He has that measure of faith that I need. Mine's different than Brother Avery's. Brother Avery's different from Brother Ben's. It's all individual. We all have different needs. We all have different jobs. We all have different places we're put to work. And it's up to us how we do it. But we have the tools. It's not like it's not available. You know, sometimes you'll try to do a job and there's a certain tool you need that you don't have. You can't do it without it. This is not that way. Christian service, Christian living is not that way. All the tools you have are available. But you got to go get them. You got to accept the tool. You got to use the tool. If that certain job you need that certain tool for is right in front of you and the tool's in the box behind you, you have to go get the tool and take it to the job. It don't just automatically come. So there's work to be done. It don't just happen. But we have everything we need to do it. He says, God hath dealt to every man the measure of faith, for as we have many members in one body, and all members have not the same office. So we being many are one in the body of Christ, every one members one of another. Having then gifts differing according to the grace that's given you, whether prophecy, let it prophesy according to the proportion of faith, or ministry, let us wait on ministering, or he that teacheth on teaching, or he that exhorteth on exhortation, he that giveth, let him do it with simplicity, he that ruleth with diligence, he that showeth mercy with cheerfulness. And what all that means is, we all have different talents. We all have different jobs. I can't do what you're supposed to do, and you can't do what I'm supposed to do. It's individual. And you have talents that I don't have, and hopefully I have some you don't have. It's up to us how we use them. Everybody sitting here that's saved this morning has a job to do. You say, well, I don't teach, I don't preach, I don't sing, whatever. You still have a job to do. Some, it says here, gifts different according to the grace that's given to us. He gives you that grace you need to follow through with what you need to do. And it's all different. Your talent, your purpose might be encouragement. You know, you might be the one that, hey, I'm thinking about Brother Ben, I'll pick up the phone and call him and say, how you doing? I'm thinking about you. That might be your job. That might be what you're meant to do. And if that's so, we are to do it to the best of our ability. Again, he'll give us what we need to do and do it well. It'll be a help. Your job might be just being a great prayer warrior for the church, for the lost. Nobody ever hears it but the Lord. Nobody but him even knows it. But you get in the right frame of mind, do that diligently every day. Amazing what can happen. You just think about one person, just one, in this church. Just one person out of the 60 whatever's here that really got down to business, and it was their job to pray. That's what God wanted them to do. And they did it to the best of their ability every day. You think it'd be different this morning? Yeah, it would. Would it be different this morning if I did everything last week that I should have done? Yes. Can it be next week? Sure can. If I do my part. You say, well, nobody cares, nobody sees it. It don't matter. The one that matters sees it. And those that are dependent on you to tell them about Him see it. You may not even mention a word. You may not say a word to them. I've had people come up to me saying things to me that they saw in me that I had no idea. I'd never said anything about it. I didn't know that they saw something. You know, little did I know about it, but God knows. He knows. He's working it out. So, the long and short of it, do all you can. It's just what we need to do. Do all we can. Whatever it is, after how little, how big we think it is, just do your best for Him. Do anything you can for Him. He says, or exhorteth on exhortation, he that giveth, let him do it with simplicity, not with head held high, telling everybody what you've done. Just do what God says. Simply, quietly. Don't have to make a big show. He says, he that showeth mercy with cheerfulness. Not much mercy shown today. People are angry. People are mad everywhere you go. You don't have to go hardly anywhere to see somebody mad about something. Waiting in line too long, you're driving too slow, you're driving too fast, whatever it is. Everybody's mad. And we need to show them there's a difference. But cheerfulness. Get up in the morning desiring to follow that leader this morning, cheerful. Not mumbling under their breath, kicking rocks as we go. Be happy about it. I mean, we're just on our way to heaven. That's all. That's kind of the way we treat it. You know, he just saved me from my sins, and I don't have to go to hell anymore. You know, it's no big deal. It is a big deal, and we need to make it a big deal in our life. Oh, what a difference we can make. It says, let love be without dissimulation. For that which is evil, cleave to that which is good. And this is all pretty easy to read. Point your finger at somebody else, say you ought to do this, but it's a lot different when you're trying to do it yourself. But it can be done. It says, let love be without dissimulation, which is hypocrisy. And abhor that which is evil. That's pretty simple, ain't it? Don't like what's evil, like what's good. That sounds pretty easy. That's what we need to do. Stay away from the evil. Cling to that that's good. And what's good, He is. What's good, this Bible is. What's good, all these people sitting around here with us. It's good. Cleave to that. Don't cleave to what's going on in the world. Don't cleave to that stuff. It says, but be kindly affectioned one to another with brotherly love, in honor preferring one another. Again, easy to read and hard to do. Preferring somebody over yourself. We're taught from the time we're little bitty that you're something, you're somebody, you're your own person, all these things. Instead of being humble and preferring others over yourself. I'd rather help my brother out than care for myself. I'd rather help somebody else that's out in need than to worry about my own stuff. That's what it's about. Just loving on one another. Doing what's right about one another. Not slothful in business. Fervent in spirit. Serving the Lord. Again, our business dealings are to be honest in the world. People see, they know. You know, just common sense. You ought to be honest in your business. But that phrase, fervent in spirit, caught my attention as I was reading it again this morning. The word fervent means passionate. Having great passion about it. Really being passionate about what you do in serving the Lord. You know, we've all got things that we enjoy and things we're passionate about other than that. But how about putting a little extra time into being passionate about what He's done for us? and being passionate about that spiritual part of it. And it says just simply serving the Lord. Doing whatever He asks you to do. Just following what He said the best you can. You're going to fail every day, just like me. Don't let that discourage you. You're going to fail tomorrow too. And you're going to fail the day after that, the day after that. But don't let that discourage you from doing something. Just because you know you're going to fail every day. Do your best at it. And that, again, it don't matter who sees it. Don't care about who sees it. He does. He knows. And He's keeping a record. His record's right. It says, rejoicing in hope. Not much rejoicing going on today, are there? Don't seem like there's any hope. Not everybody you talk to, it's a bad time. There's just not much hope. Yes, there is. There's still hope. He's still on the throne. If you're saved, you're going to meet Him one day. That's pretty hopeful. That's pretty good news. He says, rejoicing in it. We should be rejoicing in that hope. But on the other side, patient in tribulation. So tribulation's coming. You're going to have it. Pretty much daily you're going to have it. But be patient in it. It's coming. It's going to help you. So that makes no sense. How can tribulation help me? Tribulation worketh patience. And we read it not too long ago. Patience, hope, and all these things work together for good. So you're going to have tribulations. Be patient. Continuing. Instant in prayer. I think that's the key to all of it. If we're not continuing in prayer, we're not going to do the rest of this. We're not talking to Him like we should and bringing our petition for Him like we should. We're not going to live for Him like we should. It's not going to happen. And we've all been there. We know that. But instant in prayer. And, being able and being in the position if somebody asks you to pray at a moment, you can. It's a bad place to be when you can't. Now, I'm sure all of us sitting here can say, we've been there. Or we couldn't, like we should. But the way we keep that where it should be is continuing in it. Continuing. Not doing it once and not doing it anymore. Continuing means keep on doing it. Continuing means do it every day. Do it all the time. Every time you get a second, think about it. Pray for somebody. Pray for those who are lost around you. But continuing, instant in prayer. Distributing to the necessity of the saints. Giving to hospitality. Again, caring about other people's needs. Taking care of everybody around you that you can help. Helping everybody you can. Giving to hospitality. Bless them which persecute you. Bless and curse not. That's a mouthful, isn't it? It's pretty easy to love when somebody's loving you back. Pretty easy to talk good about somebody that's talking good about you. When the table's turned and they're against you, it's real hard to talk good about them, isn't it? It's really hard to bless them and not curse them. But again, He's the one that's in control. He'll take care of all those things. Best thing to do is just keep your mouth shut and love on all you can. Well, that's hard to do. It's really hard to do. It says, be of the same mind one to another. Mind not high things, but condescend to men of low estate. Be not wise in your own conceits. Be of the same mind. What mind's that? Mind of Christ. Think like He thought. Do what He did. Follow His example. If we all get that mind, we'll get along. We'll do things. We'll get things done. People will get saved. But if our mind's on high things and ourselves and all these mighty things that we can do, we'll not do any good. Not do it like He said. He said, condescend to men of low estate. Nobody wants to be the low man. Everybody wants to be the top dog. That's the way we're taught. That's what everybody wants. But to really get to the place where you can live life like He wants us to live, you got to be low. You got to realize you're the worst of the worst. And when you realize you're the worst of the worst, and you start looking at Him and what He is, do something for you. If you're high and mighty yourself, you know, it's not too far from here to him in our eyes. I'm already pretty good. You know, he's a little better maybe. I'm looking pretty good myself. It don't work that way. When you're lowest of the low and you see the highest of the high, that's a big difference. So you'll talk about it. You'll tell somebody about it. You'll live like he wants you to live. And, you know, the higher we get up on ourself, the worse we live, the worse we are, the worst version of ourselves we are. But the lower we get, we realize how sorry we are, how wonderful he is, then we're getting somewhere. Then we're getting closer to living like he wants us to live. If I feel like I'm the worst of the worst, everybody else looks better too, not just him.
Right.
So that means I'll have more love for them. I'll have more hospitality with them. I'll pray for them more. I'm nothing. All of them are better than I am. So our vision of ourselves has all to do with how we live for him. You know, however high we think we are on the chain is how close we are to him. The lower we are, the higher he is. And it's, you know, it sounds simple, but it's hard to do. Recompense to no man evil for evil, provide things honest in the sight of all men. If it be possible, as much as it lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. And again, you do the best you can. Some people you're just not. There may be one come along you just can't get along with at all. And it happens. Don't let that define you. Don't let that drag you down. It says as much as possible. Be good to everybody. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place in the wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine. I will repay, saith the Lord. Therefore, if thine enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in so doing thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head. Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good. In other words, follow what he did. What Christ did while he was here on earth. He was healing the sick, helping the poor. He was busy. Of those that hated him. He was helping those that hated him. And he saw the inside. He saw what they needed in their heart. We just see the outward appearance and what they're saying to us or whatever. But he says, the last verse really sums it up. Be not overcome of evil, overcome evil with good. Cling to that that's good. Stay away from that that's evil. Pretty simple, but that's what there is to it. What's good, he is. Ain't nothing any better. You can't find anything any better in this world. You'll not find any president or leader that's ever been or ever will be that matches. Whoever your greatest hero on earth is, don't even compare. So it behooves us to tell the world about how wonderful he is, what he's done, what he's going to do, and that he is still on the throne. He's still God. He's not changed. And he's got everything you need. If you're one of his, born again, you've got every tool you need to be the best version of you can be. Exactly what he'd have you to be. Now again, we'll all come short, and we always will. But we should strive to be the best we can for him. It's a reasonable service. It's not even nothing extra. Just the minimum amount should be doing everything we can. But again, we all fail, and he knows that. He still loves us anyway. So thankful for that. Anybody got anything to say this morning? If not, let's pray for the preacher this morning as he comes.